Great catching up with my next guest, Jay Perrin, who's going to be back in action, taking on another Jay Pressley, Cage Titan 67, September 14th. It is right around the corner. Jay, how you been, man? How's everything?
I'm great, man. It's good to be back. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, it's good to hear from you as well, and a big opportunity here. Looks like you got kind of the right amount of time off, or are you hoping to get back in there a little bit sooner?
I tried to, I always try and get there sooner, but where I'm at in my career right now, it's more like, when the fights come, they come. I'm not going to press for anything. My personal life is very busy. So, I wanted to obviously be more active this year, but that just didn't happen for one reason or another. It is what it is. I took whatever fights I could, and some people I said yes to, some people it just didn't work out, but here we are. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Jay Pressley, Jay Perrin, and half of it is a joke because I think the commentators are going to have just a fucking field day trying to talk. While
Yeah, Pressley Perrin. Yeah, the same initials too. I didn't even realize that. So there you go.
Yeah, so if it goes to decision, right, then nobody's really going to know who won until like the very end of their last name. It's really the tension will be palpable.
I agree, and well, hopefully it doesn't go that way. And also, they should just do this. They should just do the shorts colors. That'll be easier. You should just wear something completely different. Then they can differentiate. It won't be a problem. But I know part of the reason too. You probably haven't been as active as obviously you're a dad. You're just telling me off air. You got a 9-month-old. How has that changed your life? Because I know for myself, who's got 2 kids, it certainly changed mine.
You know what? She is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, man. I truly can't even describe that. And she's like this small little thing that you just have to keep alive, and that's really like it. But she gives my life like purpose, and I think for a long time for me in the game that we play, the mental aspect of identifying myself as just a fighter. This is all I am, and if I fail, then I am a failure. You know what I mean? Kind of made me a prisoner to what I do, and she gives me purpose outside of that, and it makes me happy to fulfill that purpose, and so for me, that's very freeing. So I'm not constrained anymore by the, if I make the wrong move here, that, or a lot of how I feel now is just fuck it. I'm going for it now. Just because, win, lose, draw, I have this tiny thing that loves me, you know what I mean? No matter what happens to me in 10 years, she might not even know that I fight, other than I have a couple of belts, so, she has changed my life exponentially and, given me a focus that I've really needed since leaving the UFC. Since having her, I've gotten my head back on straight very, very, very quickly. So I'm very grateful for her.
Good for you, man. Love hearing that. I know your last fight, you actually had to fight up a weight class, if I'm not mistaken. You had to fight at featherweight. I'm sure it was just like because you wanted to keep active, get an opportunity. I know it didn't go your way, but what did you sort of take away from that fight?
They're big up there. They're big. Chris McCate is a very talented cat. You know what I mean? Like he's an NCAA All-American. I heard that part, and I think my ego got to me a little bit to accepting that fight because I was like, I'd had a fight prior to it against Lionel, and I did well, and I didn't feel like I was undersized in that fight. And I saw Chris, and I saw it as an opportunity to fight a really tough guy that if I had gotten a good win over up a weight class, it makes an argument for, me going forward. So I just saw an opportunity against a tough cat. And when I got in there, man, he was sizably bigger than me, like just so big. And I held my own, dude. But I'm not mad at that performance because I threw down, he beat me in the 3rd round for sure. It was a loss. I lost, but I didn't get trampled over that whole time. I went up a weight class and fought a stud who I think has rattled off like 4 or 5 more wins since, he fought me. I just learned that I'm a bantamweight, and I while I can scrap with featherweights, I probably can't fight true upper like end of the weight class guys just because that size is just gonna get the better of me every time. So it just taught me I belong at 35.
Okay, simple as that. Let's talk about Jay Pressley, 12-fight veteran. What do you know about him? How do you feel like you match up against him here?
Jay Pressley, he's actually, so it's a funny storyline is that his coach, Mike Sekeli, is one of my first teammates. We fought and trained together what seems like a lifetime ago. I know Pressley from a few of his YouTube fights. To be honest, his longest one, his most recent one is with Johnny. So that's the one that I've kind of studied up and down. I think he's a jack of all trades, much like myself. I don't think that he's a specialist particularly anywhere. I'm a better wrestler. I think I'm a better boxer. And I think my footwork is a little bit more tricky than his. So for a 12 fight veteran, in my opinion, um, he makes a lot of moves that I would consider green. That for a guy that with 12 fights, you wouldn't think that he would make. And so, after watching it over and over, it's, they're not flukes. You do that. That's a habit. He has habits that he does quite a bit that I'm going to exploit, that I exploit on everybody. So I think that I don't think that he's a bad fighter. I just think that he's like a 7 out of 10 and I'm like an 8. I'm just a little bit higher than him. And I'm going to put on a pace that he's not going to be able to keep up with. He fades as time goes on, and everybody knows that I get stronger as time goes on. So that 4th and 5th round will show you what kind of man you are, and we're going to find out. I really do feel like I'll finish him in the 3rd or 4th. Real basic. Nothing that I haven't seen. There's nothing spectacular that would really frighten me about Jay Pressley. So that's how I feel about that.
Take me through camp. Who've been some of the main guys helping you get ready for this one as far as training partners and coaches?
So Joe Lozon is, who I'm with now. That's my Lozon and Raynham, Massachusetts. Very, very hands-on. You know what I mean? Me and him have a really good relationship. And Randy Costa has been my main partner for close to a year now. We travel, like I'll go to, Rhode Island, and there's a little small group of us, Damani Burns and Sahib Jackson and, you know what I mean? A couple other guys get together and spar there. And then the whole Lozon crew has done really just a great job of just kind of rallying around me. A lot of amateurs and as some of our pro guys come around. But Joe and Randy are my 2 main guys. And so I'm appreciative of them.
Awesome. For those who might not know, how long have you been back home? Because I know you were in Vegas, obviously training at Syndicate.
I've been home for about a year and a half now. So I went home and shut the fuck up for about a year and a half, or 6 months even. Didn't even go to the gym after the Rosas fight because I just felt I was in a bad spot. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. After that, that one I felt like really got away from me, and my ego got the better of me in that fight. And so I just decided it was time for me to disappear and not really talk or make waves. That's why I really didn't I told people, I'm like, I really don't want to do interviews, and I just feel like I should be in a camera for right now. It would be healthy for me. So I just disappeared. I came back about a year and a half. I live with my girlfriend. I have my baby, and I live a very, very quiet life. I wake up, I go to training, I take my baby with me, I come home. You know what I mean? Then I go back. Twice a day. That's all I've been up to. I just train. I am in the gym essentially every day for at least 2 hours every day. So awesome. That's all I've been doing. It's just trying to get better and enjoy my life a little bit, be like a human being, because I'll tell you, man, Vegas is a cruel place. It's not the best place in the world for everybody. It'll chew you up and spit you out if you're not really prepared for it to do that. And so that's kind of what it did to me. And so being home helped me be back at my roots, and I feel like I was when I went on my run to get to the UFC again. So I'm very, very prepared, and I'm in a really, really good mental space for this fight, and I think that I'm going to give a damn good performance on the 14th.
Love it. Love hearing that, man. And I completely agree. And obviously you're a family man now. Like you want to be, I'm sure, around family as well, raising, your child and all that. So I'm sure all that kind of plays into it as well. Like I did something similar. I was living in a bigger city, and then I moved to a smaller city when I became a dad. So it's definitely, that stuff is more of a priority, right? When you have kids.
It is, it's hard for me to just have this girl, and my whole life has been you don't stop fighting for your dream, and now I have this daughter, and she might be little, but the principle of I'm not going to stop. I can't stop now. Mm-hmm. I'll keep going until I physically can't do it anymore. So I the motivation is to obviously fight and continue after my dreams to teach my daughter a lesson, but at the same time, fighting doesn't consume me so much anymore because my priorities are on her. So when I go to the gym, I'm at the gym. That's what I'm doing. I'm 100% at the gym. When I come home, as soon as I hit the doorstep, I'm dad again. Mm-hmm. So, it helps me separate the two worlds, so I'm not constantly just obsessing over everything all the time.
Love it. That's great, man. What about your corner? I imagine, is Joe Lozon going to be in your corner? Who's going to be in the cage with you for the fight?
So it'll be probably, and I haven't discussed this with them, so I'm gonna guess, but I would guess this will be that. It'll be Randy, Joe, and Peter Barrett.
Oh,
That'll
nice.
be
Slippery Pete. Always
Slippery
good having.
Pete.
Yeah, big win in his last fight, man. That must have sent some shockwaves through the team in a good way.
Oh God, I was too emotional in that win. You know, that was I acted like a fool at the end of that. You can hear me in the in the video.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch the fight of him and Giannetti, you could just hear me screaming instructions at him. But I was really proud of him for that. Yeah, it was a really good win. I'm happy for him. So I was in his corner. He'll be in mine.
There you go. And then obviously a win. Where does that sort of take you here? Because obviously that last fight was at 45. They should sort of look at it that way as opposed to at 135. You string a few together. I mean, you could go on another run and get back to the UFC. Is that kind of what you're looking at?
Dude, I would love to like say that that's like my plan, but I just want to fight one at a time. You know what I mean? Like, because for me specifically, the person, I can't speak for everybody, but I know when I start getting ahead of myself, I make stupid fucking decisions. And so like I did that in the UFC. I started talking before I won. You know what I mean? I started doing shit that was looking past the person right in front of me, and I lost a few in a row because of it. So where it takes me, I'm not sure, but you're right. I'm sure if I string together 3 or 4 good wins, you know what I mean? I'm in the topic of conversation, but for me, I need to take those 3 or 4 wins, one win at a time. And as much as I think that I am better than Jay Pressley, he is still somebody that if I'm not on my P's and Q's, he catch me slipping. You know what I mean? And I can't, just for my own safety, mental health, and just my own, ego, I guess. I'm just gonna focus on this one fucking guy, because at the end of it all, I'm gonna have 4 belts that I can show my little girl and be like, I was awesome. And as I get older, the mythos will just become more and more and more obnoxious. You know what I mean? So, I just want to get this belt, and then we'll see where we go, man. You know, and I still think I'm the best 35er in the Northeast. And I have to prove that in 2.5 weeks, and I intend to. I know the position I'm in, so I've always done very, very well when my back's against the wall, and so I feel that very, very much. And as pressured as I would feel in the past, that shit's just not there anymore. You know what I mean? I understand what I have to do, and I'm going to do it well.
Jay, thanks for doing this. Always good catching up with you. If there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
I just want to thank all my teammates, my coaches, and people that support me. I have to miss my cousin's wedding for this, so I want to thank her for being so gracious and not being mad at me for not going. Sponsors, I don't really focus on that shit anymore because I was never good at it, and I don't think that asking anybody to help me with it has ever helped either. So if you'd like to sponsor me, go ahead. But if you want to find me on Instagram, I'm at lastlaugh_Perrin. That's me now, because every time I get close to 10,000 followers, Instagram deletes my shit. So I have a new profile, so follow me there. Other than that, that's it. I'll see you guys on fight night. I'm going to win on my 4th belt, and then we'll see where the road takes us.